Tonight on Reporting Scotland, police charged 2 people in Falkirk as anti-immigration protesters clashed with opponents outside a former hotel housing asylum seekers.
It's the worst mood, heated mood of racism or vile comments I've ever encountered.
It's not racism, it's just common sense.
Also on tonight's programme, Alex Salmond's niece hits out at her uncle's portrayal in Nicola Sturgeon's memoir.
He's not here to defend himself, as he would have done with every fibre of his being.
Christina Henry has vowed to protect the former First Minister's legacy and to defend his name in court. Farmers warn that growing cereal crops in Scotland has become unpredictable and difficult as climate change takes its toll on harvests. A lasting bond, how the legacy of Sean Connery is helping up-and-coming talent at the Edinburgh Film Festival.
Coming up in the sport, Russell Martin reassures his mum, of all people, that he's relishing the responsibility at Rangers ahead of tomorrow's Champions League playoff.
Hello, I'm Laura Miller. Welcome to Monday's programme. An anti-racism group has hit out at what they call extremists who took part in a protest against asylum seekers being housed in a former hotel in Falkirk. Hundreds of people gathered outside the premises on Saturday and police closed the road for several hours and arrested 2 men. Organisers of the protest said they want to protect their community and have no affiliation with far-right protesters who joined the event. Here's our correspondent, David Henderson.
Protesters out in force in Falkirk on Saturday at a hotel housing asylum seekers. They were here to voice their concerns of what they called uncontrolled illegal immigration.
We're local Falkirk residents. We're not a political organisation. We're parents, grandparents, workers, community members who have had enough of feeling ignored when it comes to the issues of safety, crime, transparency from Falkirk Council and other authorities. It isn't really about left or right politics, it's about local people standing up for the community in relation to many issues.
Facing off against them, dozens of campaigners voicing their support for the asylum seekers. And between the two sides, police out in force. 2 people were arrested on the day, and Police Scotland say they're still investigating this banner. Today, one of the counter-demonstrators said the mood at the protest was vile.
Extreme terms of abuse, lots of people on that. What I have to make out, that was done by a minority on that protest, not the majority. And I believe there's a minority, extreme right, have tagged themselves onto it, intervened on Saturday, made it 10 times worse.
There's high political tension around the issue of asylum as the UK government struggles to control the number of small boats crossing the channel.
I'm the tourism minister. I want to see every single hotel in the UK, every single hotel room in the UK used for tourists, not for solving a problem that we've inherited over the last few years. I'm delighted that we've managed to get the number of asylum seekers in hotel rooms down by 50% over the last year. We've got a long way to go, and I would just urge people to have a degree of patience and magnanimity towards the people who are in our community.
So for a few hours, a tense standoff at this Falkirk protest. Public anger on display. Will there be more in this long, hot summer?
Well, David's here now. And David, we have seen protests like this one in Scotland before, but this appeared to be quite a significant one.
Yes, on a much bigger scale than what we've seen before. There were lots of anti-immigration protesters there, and of course adding to the tension, that counter-demonstration, people standing in front of the asylum seekers hostel to voice their solidarity with refugees as they see it. So a lot of heat and noise, a lot of pressure there, with the police having to be out in significant numbers, as you saw there. I was at the scene today. It was quiet, but you might expect that to change again because the situation's not going to change very fast and the issues are not changing. We've also seen protests in Aberdeen in recent week, but on a smaller scale. Same thing, of course. Another asylum seekers hotel. Saturday's protest in Falkirk just reminds us this is a deeply divisive issue. It's a highly charged issue. Even here in Scotland, a long, long way from the English Channel, where those small boats have been crossing.
OK, thank you, David. Alex Salmond's niece has condemned criticism of her late uncle in Nicola Sturgeon's memoir. Christina Henry says the former First Minister would never have made the claims she has about her predecessor had he still been alive. Miss Henry has also told BBC Scotland that Mr Salmond's family intends to press on with the legal action he was taking against the Scottish Government when he died. We'll speak to our political correspondent David Wallace-Lockhart. David, we were talking a lot about this book last week. Now Christina Henry's hitting back after some pretty big allegations in it.
Yeah, there were some explosive allegations in Nicola Sturgeon's book last week about Alex Salmond. She was quite critical of some of his behaviour. She suggested he drank too much. She even accused him of not being entirely across the detail of his own policies. Now, Christina Henry is the niece of Alex Salmond. She has political ambitions of her own. She wants to run for the Alapa Party in next year's Holyrood elections. And speaking to BBC Scotland's Good Morning Scotland radio programme this morning, she suggested that the reason Nicola Sturgeon is making these allegations now is because Alex Salmond isn't round to defend himself.
If my uncle was here today, these things would not be being said. I believe they're being said because he's not here to defend himself, as he would have done with every fibre of his being. The timing of these things being said, there's been a number of years where they've not been friends, that these things could have been said, and the timing of it now where she's released a book and is looking to publicise that, I think many people have thought that could be the case.
And David, just to remind people, when Alex Salmond died, he was suing the Scottish Government. Where are we with that?
Well, Alex Salmond previously successfully sued the Scottish Government for its mishandling of complaints against him. This was, of course, separate from the criminal case where Alex Salmond was acquitted of all charges, including attempted rape. In that court case, his lawyer did say his client could have been a better man. When Alex Salmond died, he was in the process of suing the Scottish Government again. That was for misfeasance, the wrongful exercise of lawful authority. He was looking for a reported £3 million in damages. His widow, Moira, has taken up that claim, and his niece, Christina Henry, saying this morning, we will continue to do anything we need to defend his name. So Alex Salmond may not be around anymore, but his legacy is still very much being felt in Scottish politics.
OK, David, thank you. Recruitment and retention of staff are the main challenges in the delivery of healthcare in the north of Skye, according to the Health Secretary, who was meeting campaigners there today. They say urgent care at Portree Community Hospital falls short of expectations, despite efforts to improve the service a year ago. Well, our reporter Cameron Angus Mackay is in Portree for us this evening. Cameron, just remind us what the background is to this.
Yeah, Laura, local people have been unhappy about healthcare in Portree for a number of years. Back in 2018, a review by Dr. Sir Lewis Ritchie recommended that non-emergency urgent care be introduced 24/7. Now, you will of course remember public anger during Skye Live Music Festival. One woman died after taking unwell, another woman suffered a severe allergic reaction. Those two incidents shone a spotlight on the broader healthcare picture here. Changes were brought in by NHS Highland in August last year, but a year on, campaigners say it's still an unsatisfactory situation. They've been speaking to the Health Secretary, Neil Gray, today.
There is also some variance because of the availability of our advanced nurse practitioners and where they can be, and because of recruitment and retention issues that I referred to, that is where the challenge currently lies in terms of the consistency of services.
And Cameron, how have campaigners reacted to Neil Gray being there and what he said today?
Well, they've certainly welcomed his presence in Portree, saying it was a chance to share their concerns with him. What they want is a walk-in service locally, because Broadford Hospital further south can be up to 2 hours drive away, depending on where you live or weather conditions. Tourism is also a factor there. Straight after the meeting, They gave me their reaction.
There seems to be a great gulf between us both and what we understand to be a 24/7 urgent care service in Portree. And basically what's in place at the moment isn't working for us, and NHS Highland seem to be struggling to provide what we would feel is a service that would make us feel safe in the north of Skye.
The government says that there's still work to be done to improve the service. NHS Highland, the health board, insists there is a 24/7 urgent care service here in Portree, urging people to contact NHS 24 for specific guidance.
OK, Cameron, Angus Mackay in a beautiful Portree tonight. Thank you. Now, while warmer, drier weather might be welcome news for some people, farmers are warning growing cereal crops here has become increasingly unpredictable and difficult. NFU Scotland says unusual weather has resulted in this year's spring barley being ready to harvest earlier than normal, and it's also adversely affected the quality of the grain. As Rachel Bell reports.
This is the last day of harvesting for the Stevenson family near Banff. The lack of rain, coupled with the warmer temperatures in mid-July, meant the crops were ripe 2 to 3 weeks earlier than usual.
The grain from this field of barley is destined for malt and will eventually end up in a bottle of whisky. But farmers have to meet certain standards in order for this to happen. And the weather this year is making things tricky.
This is our spring barley, Firefox variety, kind of reasonably new variety we've been doing. And give you an example of the head here. So it is smaller than it usually would be, which is the problem for a lot of farmers this year. You usually see them, they're filled out little seeds, and it's just there's more there to be used by the maltsters.
The grain from this barley has met the threshold required by the whisky industry, but for some growers this isn't the case. Their grain will be used for animal feed.
That is taking a significant drop in the price per tonne that the farmer will get. We're probably going to be losing about £70 per tonne, which on a market that was already very depressed due to lack of demand, the price at that time was not good, and now to lose even more is going to be crippling for any farmer that can't find a home for that grain.
The industry says Scotland's farmers are at the front line of climate change.
We've got those challenges of, unpredictability of the climate, unpredictability of the weather. So therefore, trying to react and grow, the cereals and the crops and raise the animals that we survive on in Scotland and export as well is proving more and more difficult.
As the last of the harvest is brought in, the Stevenson family will now turn their attention to sowing their winter crops. Like other farmers across Scotland, they're hoping for rain. Rachel Bell reporting Scotland, Aberdeenshire.
Now, a year ago, 19 female medical students from Afghanistan were brought to Scotland. The aim of the scheme was to allow them to continue the studies they were forced to give up when the Taliban retook control of their home country. It was arranged by the Linda Norgrove Foundation, a charity based on the Isle of Lewis and set up in memory of an aid worker killed in 2010. Our reporter Hope Webb has been speaking to some of the students whose lives have changed immeasurably.
When she's not studying, Amal Bannon spends her time enjoying the beaches of St Andrews. After leaving her family and fiancé in Afghanistan, the 22-year-old is settling into life as a medical student here, something she could only imagine after the Taliban banned all women from university nearly 3 years ago.
They called us that tomorrow you cannot come to your university, university is banned, you're not allowed to come to university. It was such a frustrating night. When we all slept, I think I had cried the whole night. It was something that hurt our spirit more than our own body.
Last August, Amal Bannon was one of 19 female medical students brought to Scotland by the Linda Norgrove Foundation. They worked with the UK and Scottish governments to help award each of them a university place. For Amal Bannon, she dreams of being a dermatologist, a dream that may take 10 years to realise.
If you want to do it, you have to sacrifice something. Some years being far from your family, being far from your fiancé, so that there's a lot of years on the way coming to you that you can do everything you want. It's joyful to imagine the days that are waiting for me.
Today the group, including Am O'Bannon, got together for a reception to mark exactly a year since they stepped on Scottish soil, and it was a moment of reflection for many of them.
I learned so many new things, how to be support with community people, and how be patient, resilient.
I want to become hopefully a neurosurgeon, and everything is totally different from back home, but I wish I can make it here.
Back in St Andrews, Am O'Bannon dreams of the future, a future where all women and girls are free to learn and pursue their dreams.
I hope there comes a day in Afghanistan when women can do whatever they want and be happy, not worrying about a fundamental need, which is education for them.
Hope Web reporting. Now, he was an icon of film, and you don't really need much more than this to guess who I am talking about. Well, this year's Edinburgh Film Festival is honouring Sir Sean Connery's contribution to the silver screen by showing the 6 original Bond films he starred in, but it's also celebrating his wider legacy, including a scheme funded by his foundation to help young filmmakers get their foot on the ladder. Our arts correspondent Polly McLean reports.
Most Scottish actors start in the north and then come south. So why did you come straight down to London?
Well, I doubt very much if anyone in Scotland would have employed me. They employed me certainly for the other jobs, but not as an actor.
For most of us, Sean Connery is James Bond, but it wasn't always the case.
Dad came and auditioned, and it was at the Grosvenor House on the 8th floor, and he came in and he had a sort of swagger to him, and they thought, oh, this guy's interesting, and he's not actually, you know, the Bond that perhaps we were thinking of. And then he did his audition, they were talking about it, and Cubby Broccoli happened to be looking out the window, and Dad was walking across the street, and he dodged about 3 cars going chung 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 through, and they were like, okay, that's the guy.
Sean Connery set up a charity in 1971 using his $1 million fee from Diamonds Are Forever. It's still running today alongside the foundation which his family established after his death. Its legacy has never been more important to the Edinburgh International Film Festival, of which he was patron for 14 years. It's only just finding its feet again after abruptly closing down, but for the second year is able to offer a £50,000 prize for a film.
Where's more getting him?
Well, our box better.
And there's a chance for new filmmakers too, like Ryan Pollock, whose short film Gauk is showcasing his hometown on the big screen.
Very few films have been made in Wishy, you know what I mean, or North Lanarkshire. So that's what this lab's good for, you know what I mean. Getting people from different kind of backgrounds, because these places need to be seen, you know what I mean, they've very rarely been seen. So getting a chance to bring a proper crew and proper cast and a proper budgeted film to a scheme in Wishaw, you know what I mean, it's an important thing.
A sacred bond indeed, and a legacy which lives on in the city and the festival he championed all his life. Polly McLean reporting Scotland, Edinburgh.
I feel like I wanted you to do some sort of Bond-like entrance
pause,
there.
Yeah, I should have been ready for that. Sorry, Laura, I've let you down.
Yeah, we couldn't afford the music either, so never mind. Yeah. Anyway, you've been hearing from a concerned mother, I hear.
Yeah, exactly. Russell Martin. Doesn't matter what job you're in, you've all got to make sure your mum's okay, Laura. Absolutely. Hello there, yes. He's not been in the job very long, but what a fortnight it's set to be for Rangers head coach Russell Martin. A Champions League playoff tie with Club Brugge either side of a league trip to St Mirren, then the first Old Firm game of the season against Celtic. A packed schedule. And the former Scotland defender has told his players to embrace every minute. This is Martin and his players training in the last couple of hours as they prepare for their home leg against Belgian opposition. Rangers have come through 2 Champions League ties already, but haven't looked entirely convincing domestically, eventually beating Alloa 4-2 in the League Cup on Saturday. But the man in charge sounded completely at ease when he addressed the media earlier.
A lot of people message me who read message boards and stuff who are concerned about me, and they just don't have to be. So I keep telling my mum, don't worry about it, it's all good. I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. I appreciate the honour of managing this club every day and the gratitude I feel for that. So let's have that in the building. I said to the staff as well, so many of them support the club, but I think they've lost a bit of joy of being here and working here. So let's get back to that. Let's understand how big this is and how brilliant it could be. and focus on what we can control, and that is playing with so much energy tomorrow.
Well, let's get the lowdown on Club Brugge then. Like Rangers, they finished runners-up in their domestic league last season. They had a credible run in the Champions League 12 months ago too, squeezing into the knockout stage and eventually exiting at the hands of Aston Villa. They played in Glasgow earlier in that campaign, leaving Celtic Park with a 1-1 draw. And they were in Glasgow a few weeks ago, taking on, believe it or not, Rangers in a pre-season friendly. 2-2 the result of that one. Well, the Belgians are back in town yet again, having a fresh look at the Ibrox pitch before hosting a media conference in the last few minutes. We can't quite hear from that as it's still ongoing. New Rangers arrival, though, Thilo Asgard could make his first start, and he's hoping to make an impact after missing the opening matches of the season through injury.
I think watching from the stands, obviously it's not nice. You want to be on the pitch, but you can analyse, where the players are going. You can imagine yourself on the pitch. So yeah, it's taking a bad situation, but bringing the best out of it. Yeah, I think you're right. I've been able to do that, and yeah, I think that'll help me on the pitch.
Scotland winger Ben Doak is on the verge of completing a move from Liverpool to Bournemouth for a fee that could rise to £25 million. The 19-year-old is expected to complete his transfer this week after taking a medical. Doak impressed on loan at Middlesbrough last season, but has found it difficult to break into the Liverpool first team. He's won 6 caps for his country and is expected to be in the Scotland squad for next month's World Cup qualifiers. Signing news closer to home now, and Aberdeen have completed a move for AC Milan forward Marko Lazetic on a 4-year deal. The Serbian, who's 21, spent last season on loan at TSC in his homeland's top flight, having been unable to make an impression on the Milan team since arriving at the San Siro 3 years ago for a fee of around £3.5 million. Golf, and Robert McIntyre labelled his final round display at the PGA Tour's BMW Championship as both disastrous and abysmal after surrendering a 4-shot lead to finish second to world number 1 Scotty Scheffler. But even though it left the Open player wanting to smash up his own clubs, there are still plenty of positive outcomes from his performance in Maryland. Kenny Crawford has more.
1 behind with 2 to play, and as yardage books were peered at, it felt like something unexpected was afoot. So Bob threw the back, but Scotty also scooted beyond the green.
This is on a dangerous line.
Leading to that
nothing you can do with that. I just didn't play good enough. When I got the game back in somewhat of a shape, I went over the back of the par 3s. Right now I want to go and smash up my golf clubs, to be honest with you.
Hopefully he's not followed through on that threat, because he's going to need those clubs for the Ryder Cup next month, which is just one of the perks of this performance.
Obviously made his debut in Rome 2 years ago. He played 3 times, he was unbeaten. Justin Rose carried him a little bit on the first day, but he grew in confidence. This time Bob's going to Bethpage as one of Luke Donald's top men, and that really is a great achievement by Bob McIntyre.
Agony, Laura.
Oh, he was absolutely gutted, wasn't he?
Heartbreaking, but it just shows you how far he's come, that is disappointing now to finish behind the player like Scheffler.
Yeah.
And I go into more detail on that on the news at 7 shortly, Laura.
Good stuff. We shall switch over. Thank you very much, Lewis. Yes, and also coming up on the news at 7 shortly, maybe the best one-liner of the Edinburgh Fringe so far. 2 performers who said "I do" in front of a live audience.
On Saturday, we did something a little unusual. It was a Fringe first, as far as we know. We
got legally married on stage in front of a paying audience.
That's one way to do it. You can see that full story over on the news at 7 shortly with Sarah McMullen. Christopher is here, though. Another beautiful Scottish scene.
Yes, a lovely summer's day for many, but not all. The week ahead, though, is dry.
Good.
Let me explain more. Thanks very much indeed. Good evening to you. Yes, if you had the sunshine today, what a beautiful day it was, and really quite warm in places as well. 27 degrees at Dunstaffnage near Oban, but you can see the cloud we've had around North Sea coast. That held the temperature closer to around 14. Now, dry this week, as I mentioned, because high pressure is with us, but notice the winds coming in from the north, so it will be turning progressively cooler by day and by night. This evening, some evening sunshine, but you can see the clouds still with us, and actually overnight it will extend its way westwards, becoming fairly extensive. Some spots of drizzle, but generally dry. And acting like a blanket, those temperatures won't fall too far, 12 or 13 Celsius. To tomorrow, it's a cloudy but dry start to the day. Some sunshine towards the west coast, and then through the course of Tuesday, that cloud will thin and break. A bit more sunshine developing, but it won't be as widespread as the sunshine we saw today. So mid-afternoon, temperatures in the west still up to around 20 or 21 degrees. Further east, it will be cooler, 16 or 17, and with the thickest cloud, a spot or two of drizzle through the northeast and the far north. Not too bad around the northwest coast and through the Hebrides, and actually Shetland brightening up compared with today too, although a brisk northeast wind with it. And then looking ahead towards tomorrow evening and tomorrow night, once again it's dry. We still have that north wind though, and it's a similar sort of picture through Wednesday and Thursday. High pressure situated to the north and that northerly wind feeding in cloud, but again dry. There'll be some sunshine developing as we head through the course of the afternoon, but you can see the wind direction coming in from the north-northeast around some eastern and northern coasts. Low teens probably, elsewhere mid to high teens. So that's for some a good 10 degrees down on what we've seen today. And then by night it will be cool as well. So overnight Wednesday night in towns and cities, 7 to 9 Celsius, in the countryside colder. Maybe a grass frost actually. And Thursday once again dry with some sunshine, but cooler compared with what we've seen. That's the forecast for now.
Thank you, Christopher. Now tonight's main news again. An anti-racism group has hit out at what they call extremists who took part in a protest against asylum seekers being housed in a former hotel in Falkirk at the weekend. And that is reporting Scotland's Sarah McMullen. Will be here with your late news at 10:30 tonight. Until then, from everyone on the team, enjoy your evening. Good night.